Are the Merry Mutants forever doomed to war and destruction no matter what timeline they occupy? Is there any way for them to break the chains of fate? Well, let's hop into the pages of Powers of X issue number 2 and find out. Alrighty then, so picking up from the major revelation at the end of the previous issue, Moira McTaggart, who we now know has lived multiple Groundhog-esque lives, decides to take Professor Xavier to Island M, the home of Magneto, his longtime friend and rival. At first, Magneto thinks that Xavier has given up on his dream and come to join Magneto in the glorious mutant revolution, but no, Charles Xavier has had his mind opened up by Moira. Professor X says that perhaps in all of their battling they never once stopped to consider that perhaps both their dreams are wrong, Xavier's own dream of coexistence and Magneto's own dream of survival at any cost. But maybe now, thanks to Moira essentially giving us spoilers of not just our future but multiple futures, there can be a third way, thriving. At first, Eric doesn't want to believe any of this, saying, screw your ideas of right and wrong, I'm the master of magnetism, I decide what's right. And then Xavier decides to open up Magneto's mind the same way his was opened up to all of his future failures and all of his potential future failures that end not only in his destruction but the destruction of all mutant kind. It was truly on that day, no pun intended, that the seeds were planted for the nation that would be Krakoa. Speaking of which, from there we transition on over to the present, where we see that the information that Mystique had stolen from Damage Control turns out to be plans for the Orcus Mother Mold. Basically a bigger, nastier version of the Sentinel-creating supercomputer known as Master Mold, only Mother Mold creates nothing but other Master Molds. Xavier and Magneto decide that it's high time the X-Men, led by Cyclops, pay this Orcus group a visit and deal with these Sentinels before they can evolve to the next level. Cause, you know, if the Sentinels were allowed to become Super Sentinels, maybe start interfacing with humans, maybe, I don't know, rebuilding Nimrod, there's no telling how terrible that could get. Only thanks to this comic, we know exactly how bad that's gonna get in the year 100X. You see, in this dark dystopian future, the mutants believe they may finally have the information they need to go after Nimrod once and for all. The only problem is that they lost one of their most powerful Chimera-class mutants, the one who had been keeping them invisible to the robots for this long. Now wait, Xavier doesn't seem to be alive in this future, so who's running the mutant show in the year 100X? Well, surprise, surprise, it's Apocalypse, looking as spry as ever. Looks like we still might actually get that Nimrod Apocalypse showdown that was teased in the previous House of X issue. Now you might be wondering too, why is Nimrod acting a little different here than he was portrayed as in previous X-Men stories? Well, as we discover, there's actually a lot more at play with him now than we first thought. You see, in the future, to deal with a Badoon infestation, advanced aliens will try and create their own version of Nimrod. The Nimbus, a highly advanced learning computer that can cannibalize raw materials all around it to make itself stronger, as well as also create data farms to make itself smarter too. Basically, it's the ultimate in evolving AI weapons, and it's all housed within this Nimrod right now, but in the future it's only going to get more powerful. In fact, it becomes a whole world-level hive mind. If nothing else though, this version of Nimrod seems to have calmed down in its old age and really become more of a helpful Siri-type app. But wouldn't you just know it, artificial intelligence this advanced doesn't go unnoticed in a universe like this for very long, for you see, the Phalanx show up on Earth. Oh yes, those wonderful 90s robot space villains that the X-Men fought all the time, the ones you may remember from Annihilation. As the comic winds down, the Phalanx say that they want to absorb Nimrod and the planet and all the people that are on it right now into themselves in a process they call the Ascension. And you just know that can't be good as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Powers of X issue number 2, everybody, and once again Hickman brings his A-game. We got a lot of very interesting ideas to chew on from this issue, mainly the idea that Moira did indeed tamper with the universe as we know it and force something of a retcon to where Xavier and Magneto were now seemingly always on the same side, always working to Krakoa as a nation, but didn't let anyone in on it. We see a future so dark and dystopian that the X-Men have actively turned to Apocalypse for help and guidance in their fight with the Man-Machines, a fact that I find kind of interesting considering that it was Mr. Sinister who created the Chimera-class mutants, and Mr. Sinister is usually always the toady of Apocalypse. And if that wasn't enough, the real icing on the mutant cake here is the return of the Phalanx, promising more cosmic adventures for the X-Men, and also probably planting the seeds too for that upcoming Annihilation 2020 event that we heard heard about at Comic-Con. Overall, I'd give this one another 9 out of 10. Hickman's X-Men is truly a must-read right now in the world of comics.
Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not take a look at some of these other videos I have available from the channel. Then you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cape Joel, so you're always up to speed on what I'm doing next. And hey, if you're feeling in a charitable mood, why not check out my Patreon page. Patrons get exclusive access to videos and content before anyone else, and you can do so for as little as $1 a month. So, until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I will be continuing to make more comic book videos that smack of greatness. Bye-bye.